look at my desktop, I've actually got three, what turns out to be different versions of Eclipse. Uh, this is a version I installed this morning, and I want to show you how to install Eclipse from scratch. And please be patient because there are some delays in downloading it and installing it, but I want you to understand what the steps are. So I'm going to go to my browser, and all I need to do is to type in, uh, let me just see, is type in Eclipse, eclipse.org, press return, and what I should get is the main Eclipse Foundation web page, and you're confronted with some clickable items, and it is actually worth exploring these just a little bit anyway, and maybe look at other sources of information on the page. You can join Eclipse if you want to. You can join particular working groups working on different aspects of Java and so on. But what I'm interested in is simply downloading Eclipse. So I'll just click on the download button, and as you can see straight away, I'm given the option of downloading Temurin, which I know relatively nothing about, but it's open JDK, so it might be very interesting, it might be important. But it's got what I actually want, which is Eclipse IDE, the Eclipse IDE. Remember, IDE is just the integrated development environment in which we can design and test and execute Java programs. I'm going to download that. It's a 64-bit version from my machine, and I'm downloading it. Other things being equal, from Germany, I could download it from Holland if I wanted to. Not sure why that's highlighted in red, but I'll go for the University of Erlangen, Nuremberg, just by clicking on it. That's all I have to do, and wait until the installer has actually been downloaded. So it's just the installer I'm waiting for, and there's still something like 20 seconds to go, and there'll be a slight delay before the installer's actually readied itself for execution. 5 seconds, 9 seconds. 2 seconds. Okay, so I should be able to click on that now to run it and see what happens. So hopefully the installer is actually executing, and we'll see a pop-up window in a moment. So I'm going to close this window down and hopefully just wait, and we'll see the installer appear. And certainly something's running in the background, and I've got the installer here, so I'm not sure whether anything's going to happen. Okay, it's appeared, and it's designed by Oomph, so it might be worth sort of just googling Oomph, finding a little bit about Oomph. And Eclipse has been around a number of years. It's reliable, and most people think it's a very safe software and useful developer. So just having to wait at least a few seconds. There we go. And got several options here. We've got Eclipse IDE for Java, Java developers, and that's us. But you do have Eclipse. You could download Eclipse IDE for web development, if that's your interest, or you could download the Eclipse IDE for C and C++ developers. So if you're using both Java and you want to integrate the Java with some maybe pre-written C programming, which cost you millions of pounds a few years ago, you can do that. And you can download the IDE for specialist C++, embedded C++ developers. You know, PHP, there's a huge range of possibilities. And you've got something called Scout. If you're a Scout developer, Scout is a framework for development, Eclipse IDE for scientific computing. So you're specifically going to be interested in things like Fortran algorithms and their implementation, and you want speed. But what we're going to do is simply click on that and see what happens. And I'm given the option of downloading and installing the Java runtime system, virtual machine. So that's fine. I do have the option of maybe keeping to an older version or slightly different version. And my chosen installation folder is going to be a folder named 44795, which is fine. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and install. Hopefully it's not going to take forever. But European networks are generally very busy at this time of day. But that's okay. The installer is installing. So installation process is taking longer than usual. Something has been fetched. It's called artifacts. Artifacts for the particular system I want to be installed. So we're going to just have to be a bit patient, and hopefully it's not going to take too long. And I'm not quite sure what the specific reasons are for the delay, but there is a delay, and we're just going to have to be patient. I mean, otherwise, things are going as expected. Um, what it says here is that the IDE for Java development contains the essential tools for any developer, including the IDE, a Git client. So can you find out what Git is? Git. An XML editor, Maven. What's Maven? And Gradle integration. So some quite interesting things to look at. I'm just telling you that if you investigate these, they do turn out to be quite interesting and useful. So continuing delay. This is fun, but it focuses the mind on other things that might be. Okay, it's moving now. So it's installing. The installation is completing. What I intend to do is just to show you um, the integrated development environment, what it looks like. No, there's a little bit more of a delay. I don't quite know what the... Oh, well, that's finished, nearly finished. So the installation has completed successfully, and I'm going to launch it. So I want you to see what the integrated development environment looks like. And I quite like the design of this, but that's a purely aesthetic consideration. That's quite nice. I like that. And it's 2021 to 12 version. Is it version 12 of 20? I don't know. I'm not quite sure. But this is the most recent version in the world of the IDE. This itself, you know, the running of the IDE is going to take time. It's a complex system with a lot of capability. And here I'm just giving, let me see, just browse for a moment, see what I can browse to. Well, I'm not sure. Well, I'm just going to cancel that because I'll go for the default. So I'm going to launch it. So it's a workspace. In other words, it's where all my code goes, where it's stored, and from where I can actually execute and test the programs I've developed or I'm working on. And I have got a second clip to show you where I'm actually constructing a program and executing it. But I just want you to have a look at the main features of the environment. And again, it's taking a bit of time. And typically, whenever you run Eclipse, it will take a few seconds anyway to set itself up. So once again, we've got to be a little patient. I don't know whether any of you used ASUS as storage. I mean, sometimes you can get cloud storage for about £7 for a terabyte. I mean, that's very low cost, but it is actually generally very slow to access. And I mean, if it could be speeded up, it would be wonderful, a wonderful bargain. But it might be very useful for backing. You know, with 1 or 2 terabytes, you can back up a lot of your work or a lot of features on your system. So if you want to go and make a cup of tea, do something useful for a few minutes, please do. But I'm adamant that I'm going to show you the IDE Eclipse. Here we are. Okay, and that's what it looks like. And on the left-hand side, I've got a collection of packages. So Dancer, for example, is a package, and in that package, so if I just sort of click that, I can have several programs. I mean, I think this is right. I it's not responding. Uh, in that package, this is the package. It's going to include everything in the package. I got one class at the moment. I haven't written. I haven't decided what the class does, but it's a public class that's called Fug. Open curly brackets, close curly brackets. So it's just a Java class. And if I wanted to, um, I could go to File and say, well, I'm going to create a new project, and just click on that. And I'm going to create a project name called First, keep one word, First Program. First Program. That's all I need to do. Finish. I'm not going to create module information, so I don't want to bother with it. I just want to. I've created a project. That's right. So Dancer is a package. First Program was a project. So I'm just going to keep First Program highlighted, and I want to go back to File and go to the new clickable term, and I'm going to create a class. And what I want to call the class is, I don't know, I'm going to call it Hello World. Whoops. Hello World. Sorry about that. Oh dear, oh dear. It's because my keyboard's in dark at the moment. So finish, and if I click on that, I get, well, package, got a package called First Program. And I've got a class in First Program called Hello World, and it's completely empty. And if I wanted to, I could start putting some program code in here. And when I finished a program, one of the features of the program we'll have is simply, it'll be public static void main, and it's going to, as an argument, it's going to take a vector of strings. So I can write that like that, and sorry, go back again. And the vector of strings is going to be called something like args. So close bracket and on the curly bracket there, another curly bracket there, okay. And okay, so got a little program, and it's going to be represented essentially by a main method, a main operation. Its return type is void. It's a static method, and it's accessible publicly. And these are sort of ideas that we've been and will be talking about in class. So the name of the class is Hello World. So it's a class, public class, can be accessible from anywhere. Don't know quite why I've got an error here. sure. Let me just. Um, so let me just sort of quickly check this. This is the main method. So that's the closing bracket. I've got a curly bracket here, which corresponds to that. That looks okay. So I'm not quite sure what I've done wrong here, but I've made a couple of what I think are syntactic. So that shouldn't have a comma there. Oh dear, oh dear. What a pig's ear. So so what I need here is a round bracket, and everything's okay. I mean, this class has got an executable main method. So whatever I want doing, I could put it inside these two curly brackets. For example, I could say um, system dot out dot print line, and just say in inverted commas, put the string hello, and a semicolon. I think that's right. No, the semicolon has to go. Right. Hello. So I've missed out inverted commas there, and then after that, I should really put a semicolon. So, believe it or not, with a lot of effort, working in a dark room at the moment, um, I've created a class called Hello World. So it's a class, that's its name, it's public. And there's a main method, a method called main inside it, which takes an array or vector of strings, and the name of that array is args. So if I wanted to, I could say something like, I'm going to do a couple of things here. What I could do here is I could just copy that, but forget about that. No, I'm going to leave that as it. Oh no, what happened? So I've just successfully deleted the whole program. But you get the idea, and I don't know how I can actually um, undo what I've just done. But technically, I mean, okay, it's a useless empty program. I could run it. All right. And it's telling me there are no recent not successful launches of that. So, but this is the main idea of the environment. I can create packages and uh, methods, classes fairly easily, and I can do all sorts of operations on those items. And in fact, when you install, okay, so when you actually install Eclipse, it does actually take you through the creation of a Hello World application, which I really would like you to do. I think it's important. All the instructions are here. And for example, um, uh, you should then be able to run what you've just created. But it's being done step by step. Look, um, create a Java project, create a class, add a print statement, and run your application. So hopefully, this will be your first main engagement with Java and the main engagement with a very serious professional IDE, and I recommend all this to you. So I'm going to close the clip down and try and convert it into a YouTube video clip for your ability in order that you can access it from wherever you are. So I'll close that down.